Hey everyone, this is Super Awesome Overlord.
And Tree from Boiz.
So we decided, after deliberating on several topics, to do one on Pocket Camp for the mobile iOS.
Yeah, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
And, well, I know you're a huge fan of Animal Crossing, and I'm a huge fan of Pocket Camp specifically.
Yeah, I have some strong feelings on Pocket Camp, but I love Animal Crossing overall. It is one of my favorite series ever. So
you've played the most Animal Crossing. Like, I played New Leaf and I played the original, but I probably only a few months with New Leaf. Like, New Leaf was the one I played the most.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't play the GameCube version hardly at all. Like, I played it a little bit and I thought it was kind of, it was cute, but I never got my debt paid off.
Yeah, I definitely paid off my debt, got my golden statue, and lived the Animal Crossing life for a whole summer. So
that's awesome.
That is me, GameCube. Yeah, and I played some of Wild World, and I played a lot of New Leaf, which is definitely really, really good.
Yeah. New Leaf is definitely, or was my favorite. I would still say it's my favorite now, but I mean, I definitely play Pocket Camp way more now than I do New Leaf, which I don't play at all nowadays.
Yeah, so we can get into it. So, Pocket Camp is the mobile game for Animal Crossing, and it's been pretty successful, right, for Nintendo?
Yeah, as far as success goes, from what I've heard, and this is extremely limited knowledge, I haven't done any research or anything, but it's less than Mario Run, but more than Fire Emblem. As far as I know. I could be super wrong, and I probably am. But as far as the order of the app games, it's Mario Run, Pocket Camp, Fire Emblem, and then the Tomo Life, whatever.
Tomodachi Life.
Yeah, that kind of discontinued.
Right.
That one is gone forever.
Yeah, so Pocket Camp has been going for about a year now, so...
Yeah, they actually had an event recently that was their 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, so they're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Instead of paying off your house, you pay off a camper. And I paid that off a long time ago. Did you ever pay off your camper?
Oh, no. So, I'm definitely, I think, the biggest Animal Crossing fan of the Owl Boys.
Yep.
I got super excited with the Switch announcement, but...
Me too.
Let's focus on Pocket Camp. Okay, so how do you feel about Pocket Camp since you're the bigger fan of it?
At this point, it actually probably is more of an addiction, and probably more of what do you call it, a dependency than a game I truly enjoy. I just get on it every day just to get on it and do my chores. But that being said, I do still like playing the game. Because I can be addicted to several mobile games. It's just I choose this one to be my vice. Because it's the most pleasant, and it's simple, and I get to have my little animal friends and watch their little happiness for me go up and plant my garden, and then I just finish off the day by collecting whatever the current event is, and then I stop playing for the day. But yeah, I definitely I still enjoy it, because if I didn't enjoy it, I'd stop playing. But,
right.
But it's definitely not the Animal Crossing experience that you get from the console games.
Yeah, the main games. And I think that's my biggest hiccup with it. That seems kind of unfair, but just looking at the Pocket Camp, it has the same villagers and, mainstay characters from the new Animal Crossing series.
Yeah.
So when I first started playing, they limit the number of villagers that you know, and it gradually increases, but it was really hard going through the first few months not having, the villagers I super love from the series. And, in the console, it does take a while to get new villagers. Mm-hmm. Whenever you started, it was always a different set of villagers for each time you played. for Pocket Camp, everyone has the same set of villages.
Right.
And that would seem like you'd be more bonding over the same kind of villagers, but if you've played the previous games, you kind of know, like, oh, these aren't the ones I super love, these are just whatever characters. And I mean, they're still super sweet and everything, but it's I feel like it's different. And because this game also lacks multiplayer, and although multiplayer isn't common in mobile games, it is possible.
Right.
I mean, there's a multiplayer in the sense you can see each other's camps, but that's really similar to the GameCube, and that's what New Leaf did so much better on, is being able to explore each other's towns. And because you only have a camper, it's really limited on what you can do creatively.
Yeah, I remember when we first started playing, I remember you were super hyped for it. You were like super excited, and I saw it on the App Store, and it was like at midnight. And I knew you were going to surpass me in like an instant. So I played it on my own for a while, and I got to like level 7 just so I could get my foot in the door, and then I texted you that it was on the App Store. And yeah, sure enough, by the end of the day, you were level 14 and I was level 9.
Yeah, so definitely my love Animal Crossing got me through a lot of the time in Pocket Camp, just because I love the characters, I love the art, I love the game. But Pocket Camp, after a few months, I just ended up stopped playing because it just didn't have the same sort of lovable things and variable things you can do in Animal Crossing, from catching fish and bugs, getting different people to show up, deciding, oh, I'm going to put these fruit here, I'm going to sell this stuff to get some money, and I'm going to do these errands for different villages. Especially with the villages, because in Animal Crossing series, while there is a limited number of topics each village can talk about, and a limited number of types of villages,
Right.
It's still varied enough where when you talk to a villager, they feel unique, and you feel like you get a unique experience with each one of them. While with Pocket Camp, it's really, really limited in the responses and how you talk to them. And it's like you talk to them, you get a heart, you do a small errand. And it's similar to the series, but I feel like this doesn't come across the same way when you are playing the game and doing all kinds of things, and then also doing the small errands and building the relationship slowly, especially because in the original it is really difficult to get photos of your villages.
Yeah.
So when you get the photos in the GameCube, it was really, really hard. In New Leaf, they made it easier, which was nice. But even then, I've played a lot, and I only end up with 2 pictures of villages.
Really?
Yeah. So then in Pocket Camp, they made it like really easy to get those photos. And
yeah.
It was kind of sad actually seeing like pictures like I see on Tumblr where they've just collected all the photos into a room in their camper, and it just became like a collection thing and not the same kind of intimate relationship you get with your villagers, I think, in the console games.
Yeah, I definitely agree to that. I never got a photo. My first time getting a photo was in Pocket Camp.
Okay.
I don't know if I actually knew that in New Leaf, if you got your animals high enough in affection, they'd give you a photo.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. In Pocket Camp, I do wish they had more multiplayer. I remember when we first started playing, we heard that there was multiplayer aspects, like like becoming friends and stuff, and we explored those options, and it only turned out to be going and visiting the other person's camp and then seeing their animals do the same things at their camp that they do at yours.
Yeah, and it's the same villages.
Yeah, and then you can like water their plants, and that's like the only interaction you have with your friends. And even when you're like doing the plant stuff, you're not doing it in real time with your friend. Like you do it, and then after you're done, then your friend gets notified. And I thought that was a pretty big disappointment as far as the mobile game.
Yeah, I think it ends up feeling more like a chore than like actual interaction and fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, oh, I did the chore for you, now you can do your chore.
And back then they had a lot less quality of life stuff that they do now. I remember it was really tedious to water flowers because you had to go to each individual flower. They fixed all that, but I think it came a little too late.
Yeah.
But some of the things that they did positive, that I think are positives, are, I mean, the animals, they do have, it's limited, but they still have personality. And as far as a Animal Crossing on the go, it still offers some nice things. Like, yeah, the Game Boy, the 3DS New Leaf is much better as far as Animal Crossing on the go, but your phone is just so convenient. They added so much like furniture, and yeah, you get to decorate your camp however you want. And I've seen some crazy campsites out there. There was one camp where someone made a hospital clinic, and they had the waiting room and the receptionist behind the desk, and I was just so flabbergasted by how intricate it was. All of my camps have amounted to nothing but symmetrical, like, garden.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that they do right in the Pocket Camp is they do, although it's limited at first, right, there is a lot of opportunity for being creative and doing those things, and that's why Animal Crossing is so successful. And I've heard that they've expanded the camping area a little, but it just feels like not the same as when you have it in the console. And so I think that's why it's still super successful and people are still really into it. But just for me, it seems just like it's not as good as a console game, and it loses some of its charm and creativity.
Yeah,
like it's like they give you the creativity, but it's like it feels like it's not enough, or it's not as much, especially if you've played other games.
Yeah, it seems like a really shallow creativity.
Yeah.
Like playing with like an Etch-a-Sketch versus like playing with Legos.
Yeah, exactly. So it's there, but it's basically like a shallower version of Animal Crossing. And so looking at that, I think it's really good actually for newcomers to the series to get a taste of the Animal Crossing, be like, oh, this is Animal Crossing. I've heard of this. Like, it gives them the ability to play without, paying money for a game and really investing, but getting a taste of it, and then, getting into the community and interest into the actual game. So I think it does good in that regard. It's just, I think for veterans like myself, it can feel almost too shallow to keep going.
Right.
Especially, like, for me, myself in particular, my favorite character is Blathers, the museum curator from the series. And it took almost an entire year for him to show up in the mobile game. And so that really hurt my desire to keep playing when I'm like, well, where's Blathers? He's always in the game.
Right. And, like, we got his sister as an event item. And that was, like, just around the time you were quitting playing. Mm-hmm. And I called you up on Skype, and I told you that Blather's sister was there, and I could feel you suffering because you were waiting so long for Blathers, and now we got the sister almost as like a taunt almost.
Yeah, and like Celeste is like in one or two games. Blathers is always there.
Yeah.
So, it just killed me.
He's finally in the game now, but he's his own mode, which I thought was cool. So like the way they implemented him, I like when he finally showed up, because I'm sure with more than just you, he's kind of like a fan favorite.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's not as big as like say Isabelle, but I sure assume people love Blathers.
Yeah, I think he definitely has a place in every heart of every Animal Crossing fan.
Yeah. So when they finally added him, they gave him his own mode, his own mini game, and I love that. And it's just, I feel like it came just a little too late, because a lot of people jumped ship around the time the cookies started coming in.
So speaking of the cookies, the loot boxes in this game, you can tell us some more about that.
Okay, so yeah. At around the 6-month mark, they surprised everyone with the surprise update with fortune cookies. And before this, there was already leaf tickets.
Right. But they just worked to, like, speed up the process or to quickly get through goals and things.
Exactly.
Ooh. So you could work without them.
Exactly. And once or twice before this, it was still after you had quit playing the game,
right,
or quit playing it consistently. They started doing events that had leaf ticket exclusive items, which was kind of a bummer for me. That was one of the first time I almost quit the game. Because at that point, my goal was to collect every item in the game. And up to that point, up to 6 months, I had successfully done that. But now there were Leaf Ticket exclusive items, and like these events only last for a week, and I wasn't going to be able to raise enough Leaf Tickets to own them. So I had to swallow that pill that I was not going to own every item in the game anymore. And that put me in that situation where I'm like, well, why am I still playing this if my goal is gone?
Yeah.
And that's when I had to admit to myself that it was at that point a dependency that I allowed for myself. It was I'm allowing myself to be addicted to this game. But after that, then the fortune cookies came out, and that was when almost everyone that was still playing the game, that's when they left, because they felt it was a slap in the face to all the people who collected items, which was the big appeal for the game.
Right.
The fortune cookies were a timed event. So cookies, there are 3 basic cookies. There's the vanilla chocolate and the third one. And those are the default cookies. You can buy those ones whenever you want for bells. And they just have random items that you can look at the list of all the items they have inside them. But then they have event cookies. And the event cookies last longer than normal events. They last like 3 times as long, so about 3 weeks. But during that time, they cost 50 bells, and 50 bells or 50 leaf tickets, and 50 leaf tickets is a lot of money. That's like $5. That's more than $5 to get one cookie, and there was a ton of items in them. And they gave away, every so often, they'll give you a premium event cookie that you can buy with bells, but it costs 5,000 bells. It costs a ton of bells, and you only get one a day. So you'll maybe get like 2 items total as throughout the entire event. And then it'll be gone forever, and you'll never see that cookie again. And that's basically the sum of the fortune cookies, and people didn't like it because it was very clearly a loot box.
Right.
Which, this is a free game, and I understand that the game has to make money, and it's free, and they added a lot of content for a free game, but they already had a lot of reasons to use leaf tickets, and I think the fortune cookie was like, it went against Animal Crossing as a series, because the Animal Crossing is like for children, and like people who want simple things and don't want the complications that other games have. Like, you think of loot boxes and you think like shooting games and like the complicated action games on the PlayStation and the Xbox, all these gamer type games that are really actiony and a lot of events going on. Animal Crossing is like a chill, like relaxing game.
Exactly. Like before the popularity of New Leaf, it was much more of a niche community, and I've always felt that the creators of Animal Crossing have been always very, paying attention to the consumers' needs and wants, and like I said, it's been always it's a very game. It's there's a joke for casual gamers, but it's a really good series, and even though it may be considered a casual game, it's a really good game, and especially when it comes to being what people who want that kind of game, getting what they would like with that game, the kind of experience with that, and it's definitely it's never been a Call of Duty coming out every year with paying money and getting money with it. And it's always been pretty successful, but now that it's gone bigger, now it has a mobile game. That's definitely something that I think people who've loved Animal Crossing is wary about. Is now it's becoming more of a mainstream game that's going to come with things like this. I think it's one of the biggest worries with the Switch, if things like this are going to come. And I hope they stick to the way New Leaf does, that they do interesting things, but not things that are money-oriented. Yeah. And that's one of the things I think why probably a lot of people jump ship with those loot box fortune cookies, because it's something it's very not Animal Crossing.
Exactly. Yeah, when I saw it, I was even taken aback, because, and I've been the biggest Animal Crossing fan. I was just like, this doesn't feel like something Animal Crossing would do. And it was put in the little cookie aesthetic, but it is what it is. Like you call it what it is. It's a loot box. And that turned the game from Animal Crossing, the mobile game, to a gacha game almost. And because they were super common in mobile games, but Animal Crossing was devoid of that, and so was Fire Emblem, and so was Mario. Well, not so much Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem was born with the gacha system in it, but Mario and the Tomo Life and the Animal Crossing, they all have been completely devoid of these mechanics that are in mobile games, and then suddenly Animal Crossing joined them, and it was just like it felt like it entered this new genre of game, and I was shocked.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of coming back to it, seeing you play a couple weeks ago, but then I saw those fortune cookies, and it didn't sit well with me, and I was like, I think I'll just wait for the Switch.
I think a lot of people are going to abandon Pocket Camp once the Switch game comes out. Even I, who has put a lot of effort into it. If the Switch version is better, which I'm assuming it will be.
I'm really hoping it's really good.
And I love that I can just grab my phone whenever I want and play it. But if it even is a little bit addictive, because that's the reason why I'm still playing it, is because it has the addictive factor. And I'm choosing, like I said, I can quit whenever I want. I can quit that Animal Crossing. But I want it to fill my time. I'm choosing to let it be addictive. And if the Switch version is even half as addictive as the mobile game, I'm going to abandon it hardcore at that moment, because now I have a more fulfilling, more content-filled Animal Crossing to invest my time in.
Yeah, and as a veteran of Animal Crossing, all the games are extremely addictive as they're daily, real-time games. But they have so much more content in the Pocket Camp, and that's why I think you're disappointing me, especially in the gacha system. But just felt a little more shallow than the other ones. If you're gonna choose an addiction, choose the one with the most content and the most fun. Mm-hmm. And that's how New Leaf was for me. That's how the GameCube was, and I'm really hoping the Switch does the same thing, but not the gacha system and the money-oriented parts of the game. And so, I hope for the Switch to be a lot better. I think the Pocket Camp works well to give people a taste of Animal Crossing, but definitely hopefully they move on to, a better game, like New Leaf for now, or the Switch when it comes out. Hopefully it's an even better game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think there's much worry as far as money and gacha on the Switch version, but you never know, because the Switch isn't devoid of gacha. FIFA came out on the Switch, and it has a huge gacha system, but that's an EA game, and that's kind of standard.
What they do.
But at the same time, there's really expensive DLC, and Nintendo is not above putting really expensive DLC in their new games.
Like in Smash and...
Yeah, and then at any point, Nintendo could just drop that loot box onto everyone, and it would come out of nowhere, but so did the DLC.
And that's not to say New Leaf is devoid of DLC type, like with the amiibos and amiibo cards.
Right. But
at least with those kind of things, you got a sweet card out of it that showed your favorite villages, and you were guaranteed to get those villages with certain games. Mm-hmm. And so, I hope if they do, they stick with the amiibo system and not with DLC code system or something that's just not as good.
Yeah. Plus, the amiibos had their own appeal factor. Like you said, they are a collectible in themselves. It's not just an add-on to Animal Crossing. Right. I imagine they'll do the cards from Amiibo Festival. I know there was a lot of Amiibo cards.
They actually added cards that added characters to New Leaf as well. You got camper to go into your town, and you could recruit that.
That's cool.
At least I believe that's how it worked.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
So, let me tell you about some of the changes that you've missed since you've been gone from Pocket Camp. So, what do you remember about the events in Pocket Camp?
I was there when they had the Rover event. Mm-hmm. So, because...
And that was a flower event, right?
Yes. So that's where you collected different butterflies on flowers to get items that were unique to that event. I think there was Rover. There might have been one other or two other characters, but that's mainly what I mean. I think Muffy. Muffy was one of them.
Yeah. Okay. Were there any other event types back then?
No, just flowers.
Just flowers? Yeah. At one point, they had just a collectible event. It was where, like, you had to collect mushrooms to buy Mario items, stuff like that. And you collected the mushrooms by just doing favors for the animals. They basically completely eradicated that type of event from Pocket Camp by just making that the flowers. So the only way to get an event like that is the flower events. Otherwise, they have the gyroid hide and seek, the scavenger hunt. So basically, little gyroids, the little robot guys.
Yeah, I know the gyroids.
They have like a tuxedo on, or they'll be different colors.
Oh, okay.
Like there was a wedding event and they were just in a tuxedo. There was a spring event and they were all just like spring colors, and now currently they're all orangey fall colors or something. I'm not exactly sure what the event is right now, but they're basically orange and they just appear randomly, and you just have to go to each location and pick them up and collect as many as you can to buy items based on the event that's going on. The other event is the fishing tournaments, and I have a love-hate relationship with fishing tournaments. They add exclusive fish to either the ocean or the lake, and the little beaver guy from
Chip.
Yeah, Chip. He comes and he puts up balloons and everything around the river, and you see these little sparkly fish in the water, and you catch them, and they're one of the event fish, and he measures them with a measuring tape,
right.
And you get trophies based on how far you get, and you get items every like 400 inches you get.
Oh, okay.
So you'll get like 10 little fish, and then if it equals out to 400, he'll give you an item. He has a library of items that you have to collect them all in order, and then once you get all 1,200, then he just repeatedly gives you random items from it. So you can get repeat items, but you have to catch fish. The problem with the fishing event is you have a random chance of getting these little tiny fish, and then the big huge whopper. And just a little bit ago, they had a Mario event, so you've caught bloopers, and you caught cheap cheeps, and then you got like the big spiky fish from Mario.
Oh, okay.
I think they're called like cheap chomps or something. And if you catch a whole bunch of cheeps, you're not going to get all the items in time for the event to end. But if you catch all the cheap chomps, you'll get it, and then you'll get some extra items as well.
It's like random.
It is random, yeah.
The gotcha fish system.
Yes, but there's always a set limit. So like, as long as you meet your foot requirement, you'll get all the items in the event. But you just have to hope that you catch those big fish.
Gotcha.
They have a way to guarantee it, but it costs leaf tickets. It costs 80 leaf tickets, and you can buy a golden fishing rod. And the golden fishing rod lets you catch 2 fish every time. So every time you catch a fish...
Is it permanent or temporary?
It's for the entire length of the tournament. So it's for the event. So
event temporary.
Exactly. So yes, you get it, and then until the event ends, you have it. Once the next fishing tournament starts, you don't have it anymore.
Got it.
So I buy 2 bloopers. I catch 2 bloopers. I catch 2 cheap chumps, and then without the fishing rod, I only catch 1 each time.
Right.
And they kind of do those in like a bundle. Those 3 events are in a bundle of a global event. So you do those events, and when you do them, make achievements in that event, you'll get like shamrocks or 4-leaf clovers or hearts, and those pertain to like the global events that's going on. So Isabel will say like, oh, we need to get this Christmas tree. Like, we need to decorate this big Christmas tree for the town square. And you do that by getting ornaments. And the way you get ornaments is you do the flower event and you do the fishing event. And by the end of the 3 events, you'll have enough candy canes or ornaments to fill the Christmas tree. And then, so you're doing the sub-events to do the main event, basically. And that's kind of how they do it now as far as events-wise.
All right. Well, at least they've added more content to kind of, with the gotcha fish systems, kind of not as good, but I hope that Pocket Camp continues to be successful and they make improvements. And I'm definitely not against it in general, just against some of those features and just not as fond as the more shallow feeling with it compared to other games.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything about Pocket Camp you like over like New Leaf, for example?
Not really.
Not really.
That's what I'm saying. If you play New Leaf fully, you really get a sense that it's a shallower New Leaf, and with less options. So it's hard for a mobile game to beat the console game.
Agreed. Even in the tiniest aspects, like even if they add exclusive content, it's hard for them to compete with those big budget games that come out.
Yeah, so I think as a mobile game, it's great for newcomers, and hopefully it'll get even more fans in Animal Crossing, and they listen to what Animal Crossing fans want and show that in the Switch game.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Switch game.
I am praying for a Animal Crossing Switch bundle, and we'll see if it happens.
Any Switch hopes, like anticipated content that you want? Any wish lists that you have?
I just think New Leaf did such a good job. It's really the culmination of the Animal Crossing series, of their best parts, and adding new stuff that's really great. Especially, making you the mayor of the city and everything. So I just hope that if it's not at least New Leaf, it's New Leaf, but even better.
Yeah.
That's what I can hope for.
Yeah, I definitely like decorating my character, making custom clothes. I'd like to see more options in there, like maybe getting like a cool shirt and then like getting like a scarf with it, and like getting
definitely adding more clothing items. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe dyeing clothes would be really fun. Maybe decorating your friend your animal friends that come over that live in your town. Maybe giving them outfits that you can design for them.
So what they actually do have in New Leaf is you can design clothes, and then with that, if you have it out for any animal to wear for someone to pick up, animals in your village will actually put on those clothes.
That's really cool. I know Mystic had mentioned he wants a system where the locations of the buildings can be edited somehow. Because he doesn't like that when a new villager enters your town, they just plop their house in a random spot.
Right in your perfect orchard.
And that's definitely something I think should really be implemented in the Switch version.
Yeah, that is one thing I think would be really neat, is to be able to kind of customize your map in much more interesting ways. Especially because how much further they've gone with customization, with you being able to customize the town with different features and things. So they took it even further, like where you decide where the river and different buildings go. That would be really neat.
Yeah, so I think maybe like keep the random map that you get, but like over time you can like throw bells at it and then like make the river go a different direction, like you said, and then maybe move houses around, and then eventually, if you get enough effort put into it, you'll get a village that looks exactly how you want it.
Exactly. I think that'd be really neat.
Yeah. Any other? Yep. Okay, well, I think that about does it for my opinions on Pocket Camp.
Yeah, I think that summarizes my feelings as well, and I just hope the Animal Crossing series continue to make strides, and hopefully even Pocket Camp gets to be better to keep interest in it while the Switch game is coming out.
Yeah, agreeing. Alright, well, this was the Owl Boys. I am Overlord Super Awesome W.
And I'm Tree. See you next time.